Hey everybody, welcome to Elysium. I wanted to make a better video on how to play, and we're going to start with the setup. And you know what? I had this big long introduction written out, but then I realized, what if somebody just needs this to verify their setup real quick? So we're just going to go over the setup right out of the gate. So first, you get 30 blood tokens. In Magic the Gathering, you start with 20 life, while in Vampire, you start with 30. Do not use dice for this, by the way. Trust me, it's a nightmare, because you're going to be transferring these tokens all over the place. You don't want to be updating a bunch of different dice. It's just a pain, and you're never quite sure if you've missed something. Anyway, 30 blood tokens. The next thing you need is these cards with the amber backing. These are your vampires. These are your minion cards. You're going to shuffle it and make sure it's nice and mixed up. And then you're going to draw the top 4 and lay them face down. This deck is called your Crypt. Just like that. Those are the 4 that you will have available, and you can look at them as much as you want. Oh, the glare on those. Yeah, you can look at your vampires all you want, because you need to know about them in order to know who you're going to be favoring. By the way, you can have duplicates of the same vampire. They don't all have to be different. But this deck has to be at least 12. Your Crypt has to have at least 12 vampires in it. You can have as many as you want, but 12 is more than you're ever going to need, so I recommend going with the minimum. The green-backed cards, the green marble, make up your library. These are the cards you're going to be playing. Actually, your minions will be playing most of them. That'll make sense in a later video. Your library has to have at least 60 cards, but not more than 90. So you have a window that's allowable. Between 60 and 90 is your library. And there is no limit to how many copies of any certain card that you're allowed to have. You can have all kinds of duplicates in there. This video is not going to cover what sort of distribution of card types to have in your library. For that, I recommend just buy one of the decks and see kind of what the distribution is. And after you play for a while, you'll get a feel for how many of what type of card you're going to want. It happens organically. Now, if we pan upward just a little bit, there are 2 more things that we need, though you might not necessarily be the one to provide them in a gaming session. One of them is called the Edge. This is the Edge that comes with the beginner set. The Edge can be quite literally anything. It just needs to be something that you can pass from one player to another. Literally any object will do. It doesn't have to be this. We could use this rose as the Edge. We could have that be the thing that's passed around. At the beginning of the game, the Edge will start in the blood bank. The blood bank? What's that? That is a little pile of blood tokens that'll start out in the middle of the table. Those right there are the blood tokens that come with the beginner set. They're okay. They're little flat cardboard blood tokens. The nice thing about them is that they're light and stackable. But you can get nicer ones, and we're going to go into that. But yes, this is all you need. Your Crypt. 4 top cards from the Crypt laid out. You can look at the top 4 cards. You cannot look at the ones that are still in the Crypt deck. You've got your library. Leave room for a discard pile called the Ash Heap. You've got your 30 blood tokens. You've got the blood bank with some blood tokens in the center of the table. And you've got your Edge. That's it for the setup. Now, anybody who's interested in optimizing the look of their setup, stick around, because I'm going to go into ways that you can make your game look a lot nicer. Like you can set the mood with a nice tablecloth that's fitting for a vampire game. You could have the blood bank be a really big centerpiece, like a lit candle with a dish at the bottom that holds the blood tokens or other stuff. Let's go into some examples of ways we can make this game look really nice. So I wanted to show some examples of really good tablecloths that you could use for this game. The reason why I like this green one here is because the original rule book for Vampire the Masquerade was green marble with a red rose on it. And so I thought a green tablecloth with little red blood tokens all over the place would be nice and fitting. But I like this. It's gothic. It works. There's also this black rose with the red background, although you don't want your blood tokens to get lost on your tablecloth. So I don't know. This may or may not be a great one. By the way, I found these just by doing a search on the internet. A lot of these are from Etsy, eBay, Amazon, Temu, and as you can see, most of them are pretty well priced. I like this one because it's got the lunar cycles on it. Vampire game, nighttime, it's all applicable. I like this velour pattern, the crimson and black. Very nice, fancy place where elder vampires might gather to play. This one with the gold filigree, black with nice gold paisley all over it. There's this purple one that I thought looked pretty cool with the moons on it, moon cycles again. Another red and gold. This cool crushed velvet one could be nice if you're playing on a round table. Just once again, you do want your blood tokens to stand out. I guess it doesn't really matter if they do or not, as long as you can see them. And I thought this tablecloth with the skull surrounded by black roses was really cool as well. You know, the options are all over the place, and these tablecloths are actually rather inexpensive. Now, on to options for blood banks. You could go with a really gothic music box like this one here. I don't know if you want to spend $70 for your blood bank. I mean, if you've got money to burn, go for it. This is another music box. Music boxes. These make great blood banks. Just a place to stash all of the out-of-play blood tokens right in the center of the table where everybody can get to them. Your blood bank needs to be your centerpiece for the table. So it could be big. You could do with a small one. You actually don't have to have a blood bank. You can just have a pile of blood tokens in the middle of the table, but I feel like this is more stylish. And there's really good options. I really like this black heart one. This one looks really gothic. The iron with all the roses on it, and it's got red on the inside. And then there's this green and purple box. So, I mean, you could also get like a candlestick and put it on a wider dish and just have the dish at the bottom contain all your blood tokens. And you can light the candle. You could have a whole candelabra and do this. Your blood bank can be awesome if you want it to. Now, what is it that we're putting in the blood bank? I've already said it's blood tokens. Like these are little plastic stones that you can use as blood tokens. Most people go for the glass beads. A lot of people like these. The translucent red is very lovely. It looks nice, although on the right there's some marbles. I don't think you want your blood tokens rolling around. So I recommend these little stones. If you don't want them totally translucent, you can go with these slightly textured ones that are a little bit less glassy looking, a little more gummy looking, but they're less translucent. They're a little bit more opaque because of the texturing on them. These are actually what I use. I mean, the translucent looks beautiful, but these also look very nice. A few more options, the iridized ones on the right there. These, like if you don't care about your tokens being nice big blobs of blood everywhere on the table, you could use these really small beads. And there are little drop shaped beads that you can get. They're very cheap. These are extremely inexpensive. They're very easy. Like I have some of these also. They take up a lot less space. And so it makes the blood a lot less prominent on the table. If you want your blood to be prominent, use the larger tokens. If you want really cheap ones that do the job, you can go for these little beads. Either way, you're going to have cool, stylish blood tokens. Now, I want to point out that while the tablecloth and the blood bank are optional, you actually have to have blood tokens and an edge. Now, in the game, the edge is any item that can be passed from player to player. It's going to go around. You have to have something to represent it, and it can be anything, so you might as well make it cool. Now, here I've got a bunch of Gothic medallions. Like this one here is the one that I use as an edge, but there are lots of good options for medallions you can get fairly inexpensively, pretty cheap. Here's a $9 little vampire bat with a little bloodstone in the middle. You don't have to use a medallion. You could use like this chalice. That would make a good edge. Here's some other cool examples of things you can use. You could use like an ornamented dagger if you want, because it has an edge. Get it? But it can be anything. You might as well make it vampiric looking. And it's going to be going from player to player throughout the game. Make it a cool thing to pass around, something to hold, something easy to hand off. Make your edge stylish. But yeah, have fun with it. All right, now I just wanted to quickly show you the options that I've purchased. Like I showed, I've got these nice textured beads. These are great. These are probably my favorite option for blood beads. They look good. These little ones are the actual beads. Little glass beaded blood drops. They look fantastic. And just for a size reference, this right here is 30 blood tokens of this size. This right here is 30 blood tokens of the little blood drop beads. And this here is 30 of the cardboard tokens. So if space is at a premium on your table, you might go with the smaller option. But none of these are very expensive. Now, my edge, as you saw in the video, it's this medallion. As you can see, it's a pretty decent size. It's made of metal. It's costume jewelry, but for our purposes, it's great. So that's what I use as an edge. This is the cardboard edge that came with the game. And what do I use for a blood bank? Well, I've got this awesome red and white resin coffin. I had this custom made on Etsy. I don't think it was very expensive either. So if you want, you can look around on Etsy for this sort of thing. I love it. Love it. It's a perfect blood bank, in my opinion. So this is stuff that I've got. And you guys, go nuts with your imagination. You can really make the game look cool. Now, in subsequent episodes, I'm going to really get into the rules of the game in order to teach people how to play. It's kind of a complex game, but I really recommend learning the rules. You are going to want them explained to you, and then you'll also want to read them. Now, I can tell you from experience, there is nothing more exhausting than having to play the game on behalf of other people at the table because they don't fully understand the rules. It kind of ruins the point. So please, I beg of you, Even if you don't watch my videos, please learn the rules before you have your first game so that it's at least kind of familiar to you what's going on.
Learn your rules. You better learn your rules. If you don't, you'll be eaten in your sleep.
Now, questions here and there are not going to be a problem. It's just a problem when it's your turn and you say, "Duh, I don't know what to do. What do you think I should do?" Ugh. This game has way too many options for that ever to be a problem. You've always got stuff to do. You just need to know how to play and what your objective is and what's going on. And we're going to cover that. This video was just to get set up and to help you make the setup look awesome. And thank you for watching.